My name is Rick Reinhart, and I'm here with Konnan here at the MLW show in Queens, New York. And it's an honor to interview you, Konnan.
All right, what's up?
So I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. How were you brought into the NWO situation in WCW in the 90s?
I used to hang out a lot with Hall and Nash. I used to drive up with them from town to town with Rey Mysterio, and when they were gonna, how did they get me? Oh, so they just told me one day they wanted to put me in the NWO, but Eric didn't want to because there were too many people, which there were. So they put me in the NWO, white and black, kind of like the C team, if you will, because they had so many people in it. And then they started the Wolfpack, which was a faction, an offshoot of the NWO, which was Luger, Macho, Nash, Sting, and me. And so then the Wolfpack is like really where I was really, they gave me the most shine. Yeah.
So who are maybe like the top 5 favorite people in the wrestling business of all time that have really helped you out?
Eddie Guerrero for sure. This guy Super Astro, who's one of my teachers. Rey Mysterio Sr., who's one of my teachers. Negro Casas, who's a legend in Mexico. And when I got to United States, I think Nash, Hall, and X-Pac really helped me out a lot because I didn't know the American psychology or even how to work American style. So they helped me on American style. Jericho helped me a lot too. Yeah.
Wow. Who would you say is involved in your greatest match of all time?
I don't know what that would be. I've been in a lot of good ones and a lot of bad ones, but some of the best matches that I could remember are the ones I made the most money in. With this guy in Mexico called Perro Aguayo, another guy called Cien Caras. But I think I had a lot of great matches with Eddie Guerrero when we first broke into the business in Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. Some of that shit is on YouTube, really cool shit we were doing back then. Anytime you wrestle with or against Rey Mysterio or Chris Benoit or Psychosis, that was always a great match. Or Jericho, that was always a great match. Disco Inferno, I had a lot of good matches with. Scott Hall was fun to work with, yeah.
Any really good ECW stories that you want to share?
ECW, I can't remember one off the top of my head, but this is an ECW story. So Paul Lee had asked me, he was like, hey man, I heard that Eddie Guerrero and Love Machine are a really good tag team. I go, yeah, they won the Tag Team Observer, Tag Team of the Year. That's how good they are. He goes, I'm thinking of bringing him into ECW. And he goes, hey man, about that Rey Mysterio kid in Psychosis. I go, look, with all due respect to everybody on your on your roster, when they go in there, they're going to blow that place up. People are just going to go crazy over them. He says, yeah, I heard they were really good. I'm going to bring them in. And I remember that the show wasn't even over yet, and I was getting a phone call from him because I couldn't make it that taping because I was in a TV taping in Mexico. And I was like, wow, the show hasn't ended. Maybe somebody got hurt. So I answered, and it was Paul Lee, and he was like, hey, can I have them next week? Those guys are incredible. Can I have them next week? And I go, I told you, bro. And wow. Yeah, and that's that infamous match where Rey Mysterio and Psychosis debuted and just fucking, it's on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they just lit it up.
Man, that just gave me chills just even thinking about that. I mean, that was a really interesting time period for pro wrestling, too, like that 95, 96 era when everybody was kind of starting to surpass WWF with some of the stuff they were doing. What was it about those times that made wrestling so special?
I don't know. We were just living in a different time as a society. We weren't as politically correct. I think the bad guy was now the good guy. Like if you went to see the movie Heat, you liked Al Pacino, but you also liked Robert De Niro. Everything was changing. Grunge music was coming in. Gangster rap was very popular. It was a different time, and the fans were really wilder. And and just Paul Lee was so way ahead of his time. What you were watching on ECW, you weren't watching anything remotely that, even close to being that edgy. Not to mention the soundtrack he was using was incredible because he had everybody from Alice in Chains, 9 Inch Nails, Ice Cube. I mean, his shit was really eclectic, yeah.
Wow. Well, I think that concludes the interview. Thank you, Konnan. I really appreciate it.
I want to thank you. Much success.